Now, it's been a major topic of debate. No, not Sharapova. It's the government's planned food bill, which sets new rules around the growing, sharing and preparing of food. Here's what some people are saying on the streets.
I'd really like to know, what is it actually going to cost people, what's the procedure, how's it going to affect everyone, and then we can make up our mind as to, you know, is it fair or not.
Community groups and farmers markets might be disadvantaged, you know, that swapping of food, which if that's the case, then I think that's a shame.
I haven't heard enough about it, to tell you the truth. I feel like I need to know more. It sounds really scary.
I think it's incredibly important that we are more informed about what is happening, especially in relation to food, because it affects us so personally.
I'm really appalled at the prospect of this going through without a referendum. I don't think New Zealanders understand the ramifications of this. It's just really, really bad.
Earlier we spoke to Green MP Stephen Browning about the issue. If you missed it, here's a look at what he said.
It really drives down far too far bureaucratically into what is really Kiwi culture. This bill actually discourages rather than encourages people that are small growers and growing your own. It certainly needs to be open for submissions. Most people were unaware that the submission process was there. The bigger players, the councils and big food industry, Horticulture New Zealand were there. Farmers Markets New Zealand, sure, but most growers had no idea.
With us now is Catherine Rich, CEO of the Food and Grocery Council. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
Catherine, what we've just heard, there seems to be a call for more information, more consultation from the public and MPs alike. What's your take?
Well, it just shows you what unnecessary angst has been caused over this bill, particularly by some of the more outrageous comments that have been made about the bill, that MAF food police are going to be coming to your house with guns and confiscating your carrots and all sorts of things, shutting down farmers markets. None of that's true. And if you actually look at the bill, a lot of it's very practical. It's really an update of a piece of legislation called the Food Act 1981. And really, it's a very practical bill that won't make much difference, but will preserve absolutely the requirement to provide safe food in New Zealand, and that's really the main thing that I think most New Zealanders would support. If you're going to feed your family, if you're going to buy food anywhere, you want to know it's safe.
So if we cut off the scaremongering at the top and we talk about smaller growers, maybe pickle producers needing to have registration and food safety verification, what sort of costs are involved for them?
Well, there are certainly always compliance costs when you have a business, but overall there is a requirement to provide safe food, so you have to take some steps. For some of those people at the lower risk end, all they need to do is follow food handling guidance. And if you actually read that pamphlet, really it's stuff that you and I have learned from our mothers and grandmothers about safe handling of food. Unfortunately, in New Zealand, some of that common sense has been lost. So while a lot of people will look at it and say, hey, I know that already, I know about washing hands and using tongs and all that sort of stuff, it is important to restate that, because actually it doesn't matter whether someone makes 4 jars of pickle or thousands of jars of pickle. If someone is poisoned and worst case scenario, someone dies, the New Zealand public would go right back to MAF and right back to government and say, why haven't you done this? Why have you exempted these people and said that it's okay, that they don't have to provide safe food?
I guess I haven't heard of a recent poisoning from pickles. So people are feeling out there, look, I'm being encroached upon. I'm just a small producer. I want to be able to give my neighbours, my family, my friends produce, and all of a sudden I might be doing something wrong. There's a fear there.
Yeah, there is a fear, and some of that hysteria has been promoted by some offshore websites which have had some absolutely outrageous information on it. But you are right, these sorts of incidents within the community happen very seldom. But when they do happen, most New Zealanders want to know that officials can take steps and deal with those cases.
So do you see this bill as in a good zone? Is it organised, is it sorted, or does it need to have a little bit more consultation?
Well, the bill's been in various forms since about 2003. It was introduced in the Parliament nearly 2 years ago, so there has been quite a lot of say.
So
if there are some specific things that have been overlooked, that can be dealt with through a supplementary order paper when the bill's being debated in the committee stage. Certainly the Food and Grocery Council doesn't support sending it back to a select committee, because if there are some things that the government has overlooked, that can probably be dealt with well during the committee phases.
All right. Catherine Rich, Food and Grocery Council CEO, thank you for joining Breakfast on the Couch this morning.